This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 8. Babylon. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take bond for her pain, if so she may be healed spiritually. Jeremiah 46 and 11, which is, modern day, even though this is an ancient Egypt, but, now we living in spiritual Egypt, spiritual modern day Egypt. Jeremiah 46 and 11. Go up to Galilee and take bond, O virgin daughter of Egypt. In vain shalt thou use many medications, for thou shalt not be cured. Yep, because modern day Babylon is not being cured right now. Salakia, Revelations 14 and 8. And there follow another angel saying, Babylon is falling and is falling, that great city, because she made all the nations drunk of the wine of her fornication, spiritually. Modern day. And this is Revelations 18 and 2. And he cried with a mighty strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is falling and falling. It has become an habitation of devils, which is deceivers, and spiritually deceivers, physically as well too, in the flesh, and whole of every foul spirit, in a cage of every unclean faithful bird. Jeremiah 50 and 2. Declare ye amongst the nations and publish and set up a standard of publish and conceal, not saying Babylon is taken. Baal is confused. Merchants and broken into pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Yep, so with that, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Bokakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and shalom to the Hakim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely, and shalom to the Hakim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Hakim out there on this September the 13th, 2022 at 10:07 a.m. in the morning on this Tuesday morning in the a.m. And this is a sit-down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Shai. And this is a news article from Reuters.com, and it's business news related, published on September the 13th, 2022 at 9:58 a.m. by Lucia Mutkani, if I pronounce the last name right, Salakia. So, in the highlight of this news article, it reads for in the news today on September 13th, 2022. And it reads, rents, food drives U.S. consumer price higher. And that was spiritual. We had a conversation and when we had class yesterday, we was mentioning about the stock markets, the economy, and everything like that. And we was mentioning about the consumer spending in this world too, so that's spirit. And this is an actual photo of a woman. A woman shops in a supermarket as inflation affects consumer prices in Manhattan, New York City. Right, because New York City is a big city, so definitely inflation is off the roof and consumer spending is high as well too. Definitely like in big cities like Chicago, LA, and New York, consumer spending is definitely going to be at an all-time high, especially right now in the current measures that we're living in with the economy, and then with the inflation and everything is consistently going up. And it says, this is from Washington Reuters, U.S. consumer prices undoubtedly rose Because at first it had, I say during the summer, it was from 10 call like yeah, Basham. But yeah, then it had over the summer, I will say like in June and July, combine those 2 months, it rose from like 9.1, and then I think like in late July, close to August, it went down to 8.5. Now you got in late August, they according to the statistics, now they saying the consumer spending had went back up a little bit more now. So I probably would say like a from 8.5, I would say like to 8.7 to 8.9 or something like that. It went back up a little bit more. At the head slowed down a little bit, then the consumer spending in late August went right back up. But I'm continuing on with the reading for edification's sake of this lesson. It says the U.S. consumer price undoubtedly rose in August and underlining the inflation pickup, amending rising costs for rent and health care, giving the Federal Reserve ammunition to deliver a third 75 base points of interest rate hike next Wednesday. It says the surprisingly firm inflation reading, the reported by the Labor Department on Tuesday, following in the wake of recent data showing labor markets are resilience. And the report suggested that inflation could remain elevated for some time. Right, because the federal chairs, they've been having like continuing discussions throughout the whole summer and throughout the whole year of 2022. With the inflation going up, even though it slammed down a little bit, but the consumer spending and hyperinflation is going to increase more and more. So the Federal Reserve of with the stocks and markets and stuff like that, they still continue to find ways to ease the inflation, and the inflation is skyrocketing back up, and the consumer spending goes up as well too. So they've been having a long, hardline discussions about that, because they're gonna raise up the federal interest rates, the federal tax hike rates as well too. And it says the report suggested that the inflation could remain elevated for some time. The federal chair, Jerome Powell, reiterated last week that the central banks was strongly committed to fighting inflation. The renewed jump in the core prices for August undercuts the weaker headlines inflation rate, surprised by lower gas line costs, said Ben Iris, a senior economics as the nationwide in Columbia, Ohio. This should secure another 75 base point rate hike at next week's policy meeting as the federal continues to take a strong stance against inflation. The consumer price gained 0.1 last month after being unchanged in July. A 10.6 decline in gas prices was offset by the increase in rent, food, and healthcare. Food prices rose to 0.8%. Yeah, because while the consumers' spending been going up, man, those food prices been skyrocketing like a mug, especially in not only in big cities, small cities too throughout the United States, and that been taking a toll on the citizens of America. It says with the cost of food consumer at home increasing to 0.7%, consumers also pay more for electricity and natural gas, which is definitely true. It says the economists poll by Reuters has forecast the CPI dipping to 0.1%, the 12-month through August, and the CPI increasing to 8.3%, while there was a deceleration from July's 8.5% rise. Inflation is running way above the Fed's 2% target. It says beyond the dilemma, the August inflation numbers presents to feds that are a headache as well for the Biden administration and the congressional Democratic hoping to limit their losses in November midterm elections, which are expected to flip the House Representatives in Republicans' hands. And it says, though the annual CPI peaked at 9.1 in June, which was the biggest gain since November of 1981, it has remained above 8% for the 6 great months, with only one more CPI report due before the election day. It is unlikely to give up that handling before Americans head to the polls. It says the U.S. gasoline prices has plunged from an average record high above $5 per gallon in June, according to the data